Greetings, beloveds, and peace be with you. I'm Reverend Mitzi, and I'm so very glad you're here. Thank you for answering the divine call to watch, and welcome to Unity of Tempe online. So today, we continue our exploration of the 12 powers. We looked at faith in January, strength in February, wisdom and love in April, and power in May. Now, if you missed any of those, or if you'd like to have a quick review, they're all still available on the website unityoftempe.org under Sunday Messages. So a quick recap. The term The 12 Powers comes from the book The 12 Powers by Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity with his wife Myrtle. Now, Fillmore stated that we each have 12 qualities that are part of our spiritual DNA, part of the I am presence that was present in Jesus and which is also present in us. These powers are present in us to the extent that we allow them to be awakened. So today, we're going to look at the power of imagination. To start us off, there's a beautiful song which you probably know.
Hold your breath. Make a wish. Count to 3. Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Wasn't that lovely? So, the power of imagination. Now, perhaps you love this power. Great, I'm so glad that you do. But what if you feel that, no, I don't like this power because I feel like I lack imagination? Well, if that's the case, I want you to know something. It is absolutely not true that you lack imagination. So before we go any further, I invite you to affirm with me, I have a vast and wondrous imagination. My imagination brings possibilities to life. Once again, I have a vast and wondrous imagination. Yes, you do. My imagination brings possibilities to life. Now, the question is not if you have imagination, but are you using it for the highest and best? Are you using it to enhance your life, the lives of those around you, and as much as possible, the world? Imagination is the spiritual law of attraction in action. And the way we use our imagination, well, it can bring peace or it can bring stress. It can ignite our spirit to soar, or it can shut us down, keeping us stuck in what ifs of doom. Charles Fillmore said, "When the faculties of the mind are understood in their threefold relation, spirit, soul, body, it will be found that every form and shape originated in the imagination. It is through the imagination that the formless takes form. Forms are always manifestations of ideas." To put it another way, everything, yes, everything we humans create starts with an idea and imagination. William Blake said, "What is now proved was once only imagined." Yes, what is now proved was once only imagined. Now, the co-founder of Unity, Myrtle Fillmore, provides a great example of the right use of the power of imagination. Now, much is said and much is written about the incredible healing she experienced in her life and her alignment with the power of faith to assist her in accomplishing these. Yet in addition to faith, she also had to use the power of imagination to reveal the health she desired. In 2 years of prayer and meditation and repeating, "I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness," she supported her body in being healed of tuberculosis. She used the power of faith combined with the power of imagination as she held the image of a healthy body in her mind, doing her work to bring about the desired results. She had to use both her faith to believe she could be healed and her imagination to imagine her body being completely healthy. Affirm with me, beloveds, imagination is my ability to see beyond appearances. I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. Once again, imagination is my ability to see beyond appearances. I imagine good unfolding in every area of my life. Now, you may be familiar with the term Imagineering. It's a combo of the words imagination and engineering. And Imagineering means the implementation of creative ideas in practical form. While Imagineering is associated with Walt Disney, he actually did not coin the word, but he did popularize it, and it is registered as a trademark of Disney Enterprises. Now, Disney employees who design and build Disney theme parks worldwide are called Imagineers. But you don't have to work for Disney. None of us have to work for Disney to be an Imagineer, because we're all Imagineers of our own lives. Thoreau said, "The world is but a canvas for our imagination." Don't you love this? The world is but a canvas for our imagination. Now, there's a great video featuring the voice of Neville Goddard, considered an influential teacher in the New Thought arena for many years. He spoke of God in intimate terms, as though he knew God very well, which he believed he did. Joseph Murphy, author of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, studied with Neville and said of him, "Neville may actually and eventually be recognized as one of the world's great mystics." Let's watch this now.
All things exist in the human imagination. And everything you see as an objective reality was produced by imagining. Think of one thing, just think of one thing that would simply deny it. You can't think of one thing. So you go to the moon. You first had to imagine it. had to imagine everything concerning the machine that took you to the moon. Everything in the world first has to be imagined and then executed. The intelligence to do it will come, but you take the blueprint first and conceive it and dwell in it as though it were true. And no power on earth can stop it from becoming so. But tonight, if you're here for the first time and you want something practical, you apply what I've told you. First, have an objective. You must have an objective. You can't say, well, I don't know what I want. Well, all right. Come back the next time. Ask yourself, what would I like of life? Don't be ashamed to name it, what would I like of life? Well then, try to get some objective. Now, prayer, as far as I'm concerned, is nothing more than the subjective appropriation of the objective hope. That is the way to success. I appropriate it subjectively. How do I appropriate a state subjectively? Well, suppose now, this very moment, I wanted a ball, an ordinary baseball. But there isn't a baseball in the room, all right? But I want one. I would actually assume that I am holding a baseball in my hand until I can feel it. You think you can't feel it? Well, now try it. Try to feel what it would be like if you held a baseball. Now, to prove that you have held it, see what it feels like, the difference now, a tennis ball. See any difference? All right, a golf ball. See any difference? A piece of silk. You feel any difference? If you can distinguish between these many objects, though they are subjective, then there must exist somewhere. If you can actually separate them in your mind's eye and distinguish between these objects, I can begin to feel, begin to sense, begin to smell a rose. Well, a rose doesn't smell or doesn't actually have the odor of another flower. I can detect the rose. Now a lily, an Easter lily. I can detect that. Well, what does it do? Well, I'm going to get them. Someone will think of Neville and send him a flower. And it's going to be the flower that I'm going to actually feel and touch and smell. It works that way. Money has an odor. It's unlike any odor in the world. It's more fragrant to the miser than the most marvelous perfume in the world. He can tell it. You put a money bag to his face, and it's like putting roses to mine. He loves it. He can smell money. He can feel it. Money has a distinct feel about it. Put a $20 bill in your hand and ask you to feel it, and then put another piece of paper in your hand, and you can tell the difference. There's a difference. It is an odor to it. All this is part of the inner man, that all things are possible to him. Try it. Before you condemn it, try it. And if you have the evidence to support my claim, well, then it doesn't matter what the world will tell you. If he laughs at you, so what? So they laughed at everyone who had an idea that seemed a little bit off-center. Always laughed at him. They laughed at the idea of going to the moon. Well, now it's an accomplished fact. There are still those who won't believe it happened, you know, because they don't want to believe that it ever happened. There are those who said you couldn't go down and actually live underwater. Now we have a submarine. There are still those who won't believe it. You can present them with all the facts in the world, and they won't believe it. So I tell you, you try it first. And if it proves itself in performance, it doesn't really matter what the whole vast world thinks. So tonight, take a goal. Make it a lovely goal, either for yourself or for another. For any time that you exercise your imagination lovingly on behalf of another, you're mediating God to that other. So, bring a friend before your mind's eye. Represent him to yourself as the man or the woman that you would like them to be. And don't tell them, ask for no praise, just assume that they're talking to you and telling you the most marvelous news about themselves. and you congratulate them on that good news, and go your own way. Believe in the reality of that imaginal act. It may happen tomorrow. It may happen the day after, or a week later, or a month later. It has its own appointed hour, and it is ripening, and it's going to flower. So don't be concerned. Leave it alone, and it will come to pass. So this is what I mean by feeling is the secret. I catch the mood, the feeling that would be mine if I were what I want to be. I don't have to touch something. I can if I want to, but it's the mood I'm speaking of. What would the feeling be like if she were well? If she were this? And then you catch it, just as though it is true. You always go to the end, and the end is where you begin. We're always imagining ahead of our evidence. So go to the end, and feel the end. And then, dwell in that end, even though reason denies it, and your senses deny it. You turn your back upon the doubters. That is your senses, and what reason dictates. That's the hell, or the devil, or Satan in the world. That's the doubter. So you turn your back upon it. And then you walk as though things were as you want them to be. And living in that assumption, it slowly hardens into fact. Even though at the moment of the assumption it was denied by reason, an assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So you learn to assume and learn to persist in the assumption, and it will come to pass.
Great stuff, right? Imagination is like a projector. If in your mind you formed a clear thought of what you want, your imagination will project it into your life experience. Now be sure, beloveds, to never ever belittle this power by saying, "Oh, it's only my imagination." Your imagination is a gift from the divine to help you create your reality. Your imagination is a gift from the divine to help you create your reality. Yes, I said that twice because it is very important. It's the link between your present consciousness and your undreamed of possibilities. Another quote from Thoreau, who said, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you have imagined." Let your Creator come out to play and ask your imagination how you can be used for greater good. Now, while it's important to be as specific as you can in your imagination and as you use your imagination, it's equally important to remain open to new guidance and inspiration. If your desire is greater connection with God and good, and of course that is our desire always, isn't it? We'll never ever cling to anything that's less than good for us. Whenever we imagine our good, it's always important to think in our minds this or something better. Now Ephesians chapter 3 verse 20 says, and I invite you to say this with me as an affirmation, God's power working in me can do much, much more than anything I can ask or imagine. And again, God's power working in me can do much, much more than anything I can ask or imagine. And so, beloveds, our prayer as we wrap up this message today is going to be a little different, because I'm going to invite you to say the prayer with me. And this prayer is actually adapted. I've actually adapted it from a daily word from 1944. And so I invite you to say this along with me. I bless my imagination and recognize it as a channel through which God sends me fresh ideas, giving me a glimpse of what I can accomplish if I will simply listen. I take these ideas, bless, and meditate upon them. They may be for something I've never attempted before that will benefit others in some way. As I practice using my imagination, blessing it as a link with God, ideas come to me quickly and effortlessly. I bless each and give thanks for the power of my imagination. And we'll close this prayer with a powerful affirmation by Catherine Ponder, which I invite you also to say with me. I now picture increased health, wealth, and happiness for myself and others. I now picture my good and bring it through rather than trying to reason or force it. I now hasten my good through picturing it. I now hasten the good of others by picturing it for them. Thank you, God, that this is so, and so it is. Amen. And I absolutely love that affirmation by Catherine Ponder, and I invite you to go back to that anytime you want and say that. It's a wonderful affirmation to put out and have for you. Not only is it benefiting yourself, but also you're picturing good for everyone else too. So it is now time, beloveds, for our financial blessings. And I want to thank you for being a partner with us in the sharing of your good. This good, your financial good, as you support us at Unity of Tempe, is very needed. And so we are very grateful for you. And I invite you to join us in our blessing affirmation. I am a joyful sharer of my good. I remember that as I give, I receive, and that God is my source. Yes, indeed, God is our source, always. And you can make your financial blessings securely at unityoftempe.org or at our mail-only address, Unity of Tempe, 925 West Baseline Road, Suite 105/227, Tempe 85283. And now, join me please in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well, and we are grateful. Yes, beloveds, I am so very grateful for you. I invite you to join us Thursday 10 a.m. for our prayer and connection Zoom call, Sunday 10 a.m. for our Facebook Live, and back here next Sunday for another message. Our plans to reopen are moving in person, are moving forward. We'll keep you apprised of those developments. And beloveds, most importantly of all, have a peace-filled week filled with the power of imagination. Bye for now. Love you.
Oompa loompa doompa da dee. If you are wise, you'll listen to me.